Oops. Hello.
Hello. Hans is on a phone call, and so may be late to the whole shindig, or will be late to the
Okay.
whole shindig.
Brandon said he had appointments and that clearly they went a little long.
Yes. For some reason, I thought that was Will when it got posted. I cataloged it in my brain as Will had appointments.
I'm sure he has appointments, or his kid has appointments. But
I have an appointment at 2:15 today. Did I do something wrong? What's going on?
No.
What's happening?
I'm very confused.
I was mostly saying that I'm bad at life. Cool. Hi. How's everyone doing?
Hi.
Awesome.
Very tired.
That was the lowest energy awesome I've ever heard from you.
I mean,
What
don't know.
city? What city are you in now?
I'm in Vienna still.
Okay.
But I just had a day trip to Bratislava in Slovakia, and my feet hurt a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
'Cause I've been walking for a lot of hours. But it was awesome. I had a really good time. I got some awesome pictures. I went up to something called the UFO Tower. It looks like a UFO, and you go up on the top. They have an observation deck and a restaurant, and you get panoramic pictures of the Danube and the entire city. And Bratislava Castle is in the distance across the river, so it's kind of a weird juxtaposition of like old medieval style building surrounded by shopping district that's all modern and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the castle's up on a hill, so it's even higher than the skyscrapers. It's really cool. I enjoyed it. It was a cool little adventure.
Nice. And you're feeling better now?
Oh my gosh, yes. So much better. I'm like draining pretty much the whole week. Or that's kind of gross. Sorry, we're streaming, so I probably shouldn't say that. My bad. My nose and my throat I'm constantly like coughing up stuff and all, but or like blowing my nose, but I feel great.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Cool. So today is new sprint. Hooray! And so we'll be going through the sprint planning stuff and moving stuff to what we want to do and what we need to prioritize and estimating and all that good stuff. So probably want to bring up those boards.
Yep.
Really quickly, we have some stuff in doing and in release 7 on the sprint board. Is all of that still?
The faction, we need to just have a design time on that piece. It just didn't happen. I have stuff written.
Drag and drop should stay.
So I guess I'll just move this to doing since we'll have a design time on it soon.
Okay.
I don't know where the dry run of Steam build and publish process. I mean,
I think
I feel like we've been doing Steam builds and publishing them. So at what point is it no longer a dry run of it?
Yeah, I think that run is definitely wet.
We'll put it in validate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I feel like I don't see anything in doing that needs to get the hell out, I guess. Because I think it's all pretty valid. So, okay. Okay. All right, let's jump over to sprint planning. Did people have a chance at all to go through any of this again? I added some attachments to a few of them where we had design docs written in various places just so we don't lose track of that stuff. And I think that was the main thing I did. Oh, and I added the Indie Mega Booth thing to the backlog. And Hans added the stuff we talked around, the Perforce labels and branching stuff to the bottom of Release 8. So I guess if everyone wants to just go through Release 8 really quick and just make sure you know what's in there.
30% bug anchor?
That's basically the idea that 30%, like, there's some amount of bugs that we're going to pull in and do. And we just need to make sure that we're accounting for that time in our lives.
Is the first task wrong or out of date?
Which one?
As a player, I want better interaction UI for my fleet other than idle ships. Looks like it was made on September 18th, so I'm wondering if it's out of date since we no longer have idle ships.
Yeah,
that
we did that. We can get rid of that one.
Faction visuals, yep, still need that. Bunch of faction stuff.
Which I think
faction reputations is more complicated than what we have now.
Yeah, based on the stuff that Brandon was writing up, yes.
Okay, so this is like the relative reputations, not
this is
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the this is the whole approval thing.
Okay, I'm gonna put the word relative in there so I remember what it is.
Giving yep.
Faction emergence events.
Yeah, this all looks good.
Factions showing up, which I don't know if that's. We could talk if that's MVP or not. Probably not MVP.
I kind of feel like emergence should be pushed back.
It's probably into the release 9, I would expect.
Cool. I'm fine with that.
One thing I don't understand is, as a player, I would like quests to have a narrative element. I don't know what that means, and there's no description in the ticket.
It's been around for a while. We have a whole doc on how quests should be rewritten to have better flavor and stuff, and be a little bit more narratively focused as opposed to somewhat dry as they are now.
Like they pop in and say things to you.
Yeah, they have. There's a whole doc that I think Carl helped write up. Definitely.
Yeah, that
just has a. This is how you should write these and give.
Yeah, that was more for events. But it applies to quests as well. And I think it's particularly relevant in this sprint since we'll be doing a pass on quests in general.
Yes.
With the faction MVP stuff, and so it's a good time to redo that flow to make it where they don't just pop in sort of arbitrarily. They have a tie back to this faction has this theme, it has this kind of tone, this is who you are as a character and how we present this information to you. So
yeah, and we'll have the design time, because kind of where I ended up going with that tea time stuff, which actually was probably my biggest blocker, was thinking of as a tea time and going like, no, this is faction negotiation, is that the requests probably have more of a narrative element that are tied to those negotiations happening. So you can have a bit more of a why is this faction wanting this now sort of thing.
We don't have a design time for As a player, I can manage my resources across my fleet. I'm just gonna say micro. This is a long thing. Shouldn't we have a design time for micro before we have the task, or maybe that?
Yeah, and actually, we should consider where this one falls in comparison to the faction stuff going on, resources themselves, and I think galaxy map stuff. I think were the three other kind of major things.
Yeah, and the thing that Carl just said, requests. I actually don't think there's something on here about redoing quests. We are doing a lot of event stuff. Or, sorry, not event stuff, faction stuff. But I am not seeing the thing that you're saying about redoing quests, unless it's actually the card as a player, like quests have a narrative element.
That is that piece, I think.
Oh, is that what you meant? Okay.
I think that's what you meant. Maybe we should be more clear on.
I think that inside the faction MVP document, there was just notes on quest stuff. I don't know that it's like, oh, we're already planning to like drastically overhaul quests, but we're touching that system to reposition how quests show up as far as the approval mechanics and stuff from that MVP doc, I think. And so that's a time where we're going to go in and touch quest text anyway. And it's already on Tyson's list, I know, to just take a look at that, since the quest stuff we're using now inside the game was just us repurposing assets and throwing it in there. So I think we're due for a sort of a visual thing for it anyway.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So I'm going to write in the description, the narrative could be related to their introduction and resolution.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think I understand this now.
Card that went somewhere.
Do we still want this resource optimization micro card?
I mean, that's what we're just talking about.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if it fits right now.
I think it might make sense to do a design time this sprint
Yeah,
for it.
I was gonna say I kind of feel like we should definitely be planning that.
And then we can decide whether it's important once we know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. What I meant to say is we can decide whether it's important for release 9 once we know what it is.
That's a good point. Yes.
So we should move it to release 9 and have it and fold it into the resource design time stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a resource design time. I didn't even see that.
Thanks, Patrick.
Is that the same thing though? I feel like the goal of one of these is to add micro to the game, and the goal of the other one is to add detail to the game. And those feel like competing goals. I feel like we might want a separate design time for it.
I don't know if I think we just need to fold into that resources conversation about what direction we want to go with it, and whether we want to add a management layer to that while we're also adding depth, or add the depth and then think about whether or not micro is an important component of it.
Yeah, I think the depth is really important personally, but I could go either way on how much it plays into gameplay.
Yeah.
You could take a look. The doc there links to notes where Carl and I have kind of gone off a little bit.
I read through the docs. They're crazy. No offense. This is crazy pants bananas.
Not really.
So much detail.
Really? Not really. Still not as much detail as games where I have been playing that have way more than that.
Yeah, see, I really like...
It's not a sim, but it's not as flat as before. Like, if you go to the bottom of that doc, you see some of the ideas of, like, oh, different installations want different types of gases and metals, but then they can output different types because of things, and you can start feeding in kind of a system on a ship, like a flow. But without getting to the detail of very specifically wanting to know How much titanium do I have? How much iron do I have? How much nickel do I have? Like, I don't want to go to that level at all.
I mean, it only depends on whether or not those things are used for different things. Like, it doesn't matter what we call them. I just think we need more differentiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Which is the
because,
differentiation there.
yeah, putting rarities on these kind of things, I think, is going to improve the replayability of the game and improve the breadth of strategies that are viable.
Yeah, I would agree. But it's mostly more of a, I don't want to get to the detailed level where we're caring about the specific gas. Like,
What's the specific heat capacity of?
yeah, no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess well, we can talk about it in the design time. I will
Okay.
not delay us further.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, it feels like we definitely want to make sure we have we set up a bunch of design time stuff early this sprint. Yeah, you're aligned with George, Patrick. He has been yelling about terraforming for 15 weeks.
Well, I want the research trees.
Yeah, that.
It's not just terraforming. It's things like I'm going to start specializing in, or I found technology or research technology for desert planets. So now I'm going to pick star systems that tend to have desert planets because I'm going to benefit more from them. You know, that's kind of cool. Or if you get a random event or something that causes that, you know, that kind of stuff.
Ow.
Cool.
Yeah, the rest of everything looks pretty good from what I'm looking at.
Cool. Is there anything in backlog that feels really important to drag into release 8?
One second.
I mean, I think it's sort of a collection of assorted stuffs.
Update Galaxy.
So this isn't important only because the deadline is this month. So
What was it?
the Indie Mega Booth thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Create that fine.
We should not pull the action panel in because we got rid of it for right now. Do we want to pull in action panel stuff? Because there was a lot of work done on it, and it works. It just hasn't been arted up, and so we didn't put it in because of that. Oh, and there's one last thing.
We didn't put it in because when the idle ships changed in the corner, no one was using it. We had a discussion about it. It was a day you weren't here, and we had all played through the game, and no one used the action panel the entire time, and so we thought that it wasn't adding much to the game.
Well, it was. We were noticing that behavior. We needed to swap the last thing we had done with it was that we wanted to swap the vertical and horizontal rows and columns. And then it wasn't arted up, and we didn't think we would get any of that done and be able to polish any of it in time for the release, so we backlogged it. I think the conversations we need to have now is with the idle ships changes in, do we feel like some like there is a need for anything on that sort of action panel side? If so, how do we want to adjust what we have to match it and get art there? If not, what do we want to do with that stuff, basically?
I think it'd still be good, especially for quests. Like when you get a quest to do a specific thing with a specific planet type, it's a lot easier just to click that planet type and see what you have available.
I'd like to argue for moving music into release 8 from the backlog. George is the champion of it right now. The task is like the third one down.
Design sound so.
But yeah, I think the discussion about the action panel seems like it's tied to one of the cards we have already, right? There was a design time on it. Seems like a good time to do it there. We should write
there is?
I thought there was. Wasn't Carl just said one? Let me look through here again. Am I crazy? There's the idle one. Oh, the idle one got removed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw in a card. Action panel design time. Discussion. and I'm going to put it in release 8. I agree we should have that discussion, but I don't think we should have it now.
Yeah.
Is that okay, George?
Yeah, that's fine.
Does anyone have complaints about me moving music in?
Nope.
I have no complaints moving in. We'll see. I think it's lower priority than some other things going on.
Carl said that we already have the music and all we have to do is put in a little bit of code to change it around. So I feel like it's
Do
low
not
in
trust
that
Carl on
high
the
value.
hand wavy on how easy it is to contextually turn on and off music channels and tracks.
I also
He has no clue.
Also, to be clear, I care less about contextually turning it on and off, and more just having it on, and then later we can figure out contextually when we want to turn parts of it off.
That's what I want too. I want
that's
something
what
that
the
just
main
switches tracks.
We only have one track.
Well,
I thought Carl said
we have all the instruments.
It's for a single track. We have 4 different instruments. When played all together, line up over top of each other for one that make one track. Which you hear on the main menu, where it's playing them all together on the main menu, and then in game it's only playing the piano.
Okay, I had totally misunderstood that. That does not sound as easy. Never mind, I'm pulling this out.
But if we already
I'll let Carl
have it done in main menu,
Do you want all the music playing all tracks at the same time?
I mean, I feel like yes.
I only changed it because it had some differentiation while we're in the game, which gave the piano a much more somber, like exploratory aspect to it, where it's much more all tracks together is pretty much just hope all the time, like full.
Can you like choose like 3 different combos and have it randomly switch between them during the game so that it doesn't feel like the same track all the time?
I don't know.
I don't think it should be random. I think it should be dynamic based on what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously it should eventually. I'm talking about, can we do a 2-point card where we get this in so the game doesn't sound the same 100% of the time?
I'm sure there's a way to do it. You have to work with specific audio stuff that I don't completely know about.
Mind. Let's not do it.
I'd be interested in doing that. I actually don't think it's super high priority right now, but I'm super interested in it, mainly because I really like music composition a lot, and it would be fun to dynamically do that stuff.
Turn stuff on and off.
I mean, if you want to look at it, and I don't think it's high enough priority to commit to it as a sprint, but if you want to do some research on actually how hard it is to do, because I think that's the biggest blocker right now, is we're like, it is an unknown amount of research work to figure out how we would want to do this, and so like if we can get more surety around it, then we can scope it and implement it, right?
It's something to do with audio, the queue, making a single queue like the main menu, which feeds in the 4 tracks into one output. But it's how do you control variables in a queue? I don't know, and I don't know how you access that at runtime.
Wait, how do we have a final EULA and our game is already launched? Is this task done?
I don't know if it's actually done. I think we have a EULA, but the lawyers are still looking at it. The final. I don't know. We'd have to ask Hans. He was going back and forth with the lawyers.
That sounds high priority. I'm putting that in. Like, don't we need that like super ASAP?
I mean, we have a EULA up there.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm pulling it out. I don't know.
It's not like we don't, but it's a fully lawyer approved embedded EULA.
Yeah, it's like updating it from version 1 to 1.2 lawyer approved final stamp, blah blah blah. And it may already be done, and we just didn't update the card, because I know that was just like lots of random emails back and forth between Hans and the lawyers.
Ship resource modifier, global resource modifier, event tester. So on this debug menu, the only thing we have left is installation adder remover, which I don't think we need, because you can add resources willy-nilly and then you can just build installations and remove them instantly. So I think we're done on the debug menu. I'd like to argue that task should be archived.
I think there's only one thing at the top of backlog: update galaxy map sheet with jump number. So it's just a small but I think this card, yeah, you're right. I think it's fine.
I didn't realize you were talking to me. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think the full sheet menu is probably okay to be archived, and there's just this one thing sitting up top.
Okay, dope. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The jump number needs to happen.
So do we want to drag that cheat thing in?
Yeah, bring it in. It will help for debugging quite a bit.
Yeah, because I'm still skeptical of our long range jumps.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like some activity in action.
I don't see it in backlog, but one other thing we could talk about is power.
Oh yeah.
No one really likes our power system, including us.
That's a good point. Yeah, we should add that. That's a really good point.
Should that go into?
I think I linked it in the. I think I linked the thing I wrote into one of the resources.
Power implementation idea is into, as a player, I would like depth on how I generate morale, power, food, and fuel.
Oh, that's where
that's
where is it?
It's a card in release 8.
Oh, okay.
Below the resources.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. As a player. Yeah, it's in there. We could rename this as like.
Oh my god. Reactors that use resources as fuel?
Yep.
I love it.
And then
That's a great idea.
And then we can find dilithium crystals.
Are you being sarcastic?
I am. That is super exciting to me. That sounds dope.
And if you look at our other resource design notes, there's even more on that stuff. A lot more interconnectedness even with our base resources.
Yeah, I've not read this one. I did read the sub resources doc.
Yeah, well, at the bottom of the sub resources doc is where I was going, kind of.
That's where that was. Okay.
Making examples of like a fusion reactor that takes breathable gas and combustible gas and produces potable liquid and power.
We
like,
hit.
Hey, it's a hydrogen fusion reactor.
Yeah, I actually really like getting more granular with life support in general, because I think I don't even care if we do it for metals or other things like that. I'm just talking about life support because I feel like that strongly humanizes our game, because everyone who plays our game can relate to we don't have enough water or we don't have enough food, right? And those are different things.
Or our food quality sucks.
Yeah, like everyone.
I'm actually surprised we pulled away from the oxygen piece, because I'm like, God, we're in tubes in space. The one basic thing about space things, you don't have air, you die.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think we were just simplifying to get base systems in, right?
I know, base systems.
Do we still want to talk about also population working installations? Because that was a conversation we had a while ago, and we shelved that.
I don't think yet.
I think it would be a really easy route to micro. Which is kind of why
as a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, we should talk more about the micro.
It's kind of why I want to have a conversation about micro as a goal, because I'm not sure that we're aligned on whether we even want it. But if we did, I think there are multiple routes that we could go through to achieve it.
Yeah.
And I think that people on installations is one, resources are another one. But if we lined up all of those different approaches to micro, then we could decide on well, as a leader, moving resources around is more fun than moving people around. That seems like the opposite of what we'd actually say. But
yeah,
you know
I think. Yeah.
If you're the leader, I think that's what you would say.
People are resources.
Oh,
there we go. What are you gonna do with all that decaying organic matter?
Yeah.
Put it to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to work, meatbag, before you expire.
You got to unlock your pickling technology so you can pickle people.
Pickling.
What?
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled people.
Good.
I couldn't think.
Good.
I forgot how that
Oh.
nursery rhyme went.
Oh, Jesus. Hi, Brendan. How's it going?
Morning.
We're talking about micro and how Will wants to move micro resources, not people, because he hates people. And
That's not what I said.
and that's the kind of leader he is.
Well,
That
you
may
just
be
gotta dig deeper and realize that people are just resources.
That's
Then that's
that's
what we're
where we
saying.
got to.
It's literally what we
Oh,
just said.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're
We
caught
live
up
in
with
a
the conversation.
capitalist society.
All right, let's
Well.
see.
This is
So
what they taught you at management school, Carl.
I never went to management school. Brandon, why don't you load up sprint planning and take a look at release 8 and get a feel of like, do we have is the right things there, and then also go through backlog and say, is there anything here that needs to be in release 8?
Sprint planning or sprint board?
Planning.
Okay, just making sure. So maybe you guys. Let's.
There are 999 total views of our Twitch channel. This bothers me a lot.
Why?
If we could just get one more, we'd be at 1,000. We're almost 4-digit. This channel is almost a 4-digit channel.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I it might be. I only use Twitch to watch our channel, so I'm not the person to ask.
All right, this makes sense to me.
It shows us 1002 to me.
Oh, damn it.
Wow,
I need
that's
to
like
refresh.
not even
don't I?
close.
Oh, me too. Dope.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like. Yeah,
Looks like the stuffs.
looks like the stuffs. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it looks exactly like what we had. What meeting was this? Was it last Friday? I don't remember. I feel like I've already gone through this board very recently, but I don't know when I would have done that. Maybe last Wednesday.
It was before we started the Spike Week. I think we went through it to make sure we needed, like, to be clear about making sure what we needed for release and what we are going to pull in or not or kick back here.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do we begin the voting of the estimations?
Oh,
We can do that.
I said that in a way specifically to confuse Will.
it worked. Let's do it.
I'm trying to rename the ones that are design times to have design time in front of them because I think there's a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're basically sitting in design time for like all of tomorrow.
The week of talking.
If not, I mean, in some ways we should almost try to carve out some of today. Anyway, week 41, 42 videos. What did we decide these are all set to?
What? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question.
Story
Me
points.
either.
You're on release 8, right?
Oh,
Yes.
there are 3. Each video is 3.
So it's a 6. Wait, you can't do 6.
We're not allowed to do 6. Yeah.
Good job.
You got to
cheating.
split that shit out.
All right.
But what if we just did? No, I'm just kidding. All right. I'll make another card.
Make it for 42 and set it to be a 3.
Yeah.
How are we defining a 30% bug anchor? Is that just staying unstory pointed and living there forever?
I honestly don't. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how we would.
Yeah, I think.
There's no. I can't story point 30%.
Yeah, traditional Scrum, you're not supposed to track bugs. Like
Yeah.
that's
I think it's just to remind. Yeah, it should just stay there to remind us that yes, some of our time is going to be spent on bugs.
I mean,
But
it.
some of our
What?
time is always spent on bugs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we made this especially because we're live, and so we'd have player bugs, like theoretically a higher volume of bugs coming in because it's being generated by players. Cool. Design time, action panel discussion. Sounds like
Okay.
a design time with designers and Will,
Probably everybody.
probably everyone
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be everyone probably.
talking
Yeah.
about a thing.
Ready?
Yep.
Sure.
I think we can make all the design times optional for the people who feel like they can contribute and will contribute.
Yep.
Basically.
All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oops.
Okay. When you had
2 or 3. It's fine.
I'm gonna do it too.
George, with how you had that originally positioned, it looked
Yeah.
like you were giving the middle.
I know. I know. I was like,
Oh,
okay, I need to move this shit.
Like that.
What?
How do you make it so it looks like the middle finger? I missed it.
Because it was in front of my face, and the one finger was blending into the skin of my face. I had put it
Ah.
like here. It
I
kind of looked
see.
like I was like doing it. Yeah.
Ah.
So I moved it to make sure that it was clear.
Cool. Indie Mega Booth application. So the main thing that is here, it's probably a discussion with all of us to make sure that we want to do it, since it will be during uncertainty time. And there are some costs associated, so we should talk through that. And then the only thing above and beyond that, it seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward application, except they want a video of raw gameplay, unedited footage, so at least 3 minutes long. So shouldn't be hard to make, but it's not exactly something we have now. So ready to vote?
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
2 or 3. 2.5. Yes.
I think it's. I'm gonna say I would strongly argue for a 3 over a 2 because I think it's a similar amount of talking to action panel discussion, and then there's someone actually goes out and does the application thing.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right, I'm okay with a 3.
and that someone is almost definitely me, but you know, it's a thing.
Just trying to get all the points.
I want the points. I gotta get the high score this sprint. Update Galaxy map cheat with jump number and better ways to diagnose issues.
hmm
Specifically, update diagnose issues with long range scanning and Nux jumps. It sounds like is the main worry right now.
Yeah. Just a little bit more detail.
Any
Ready?
any explanations needed or just voting?
This is just adding text.
Maybe it would be
It's
cool
adding-
if you could put a marker next to the systems that people actually jumped into also. I don't know if that's hard.
Sure. That's not hard at all. Do you wanna add that to the ticket, like as a note? Because I'm gonna forget that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, where is this right here?
What?
Nothing.
What's so funny?
Say it, Carl.
No, it is funny to me because it's a acknowledgement that you know yourself very well, but the way you delivered it just sounded funny to me.
Probably I was an asshole. That's okay though.
I mean, it's only Will. He has no feelings.
Whoa, jeez.
Where there's a will,
happened?
there's no way.
What?
Okay,
Yikes.
I'm
He
ready.
wants to pickle people. He has no feelings.
But remember. they're
Okay,
just
Carl, I'm ready to estimate.
I feel like they're
3,
just darker than yours.
2, 1, go.
1.
I think your hands turned sideways, George.
Nope. That's 1. That's definitely 1. It's right there for what we
Wait,
just
who's
talked
that one?
about.
Holding it there.
I'm just estimating. Don't read into it.
I'm okay with the 1.
I can't read.
I feel like you'd know best.
It's super easy.
Overall faction relative reputations.
Can we get a little note specifically on what this one is? What this would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
would
feel
be-
I feel like we had some old faction cards, and then we did the faction MVP document and all the stuff. Do we want to clean up the 1, 2, 3, 4 cards to be more clarifying to what we're actually implementing right now?
Yeah, because I think overall faction reputation and faction system design implementation are the same thing.
Yep.
And is
Agreed.
faction abilities and passives also part of that faction system design implementation?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so those two.
I think it might be good to call those out because what we'll probably do is end up with a list of them and not implement all of them. So
Okay.
that let's call out because that should
And
also
visual. We
include-
should call out visuals because that's stuff that we want.
So let's leave that. I would argue to leave that separately
Yeah, that's fine.
because we'll
Okay.
scope out that work separately.
So what is just because I want to clean up the card, because the card only says faction abilities and passives. What are we actually doing with select faction
So there's
ability?
a. Well, I guess this would include implementation of the ones that we want to put in.
Select and implement
Yes.
faction abilities and passives.
Yes.
There we go. It has a call to action.
Oof.
That's not written as a story. We've really fallen off on that, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is a note. Cool. So faction system design implementation.
Factions. Okay, cool.
So we have a doc with the design in it that
I read the doc.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it again real quick. Sorry for taking too long.
you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Ready to vote?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa, we almost all did 8.
No.
You did
Or-
13, Will.
Will's
So
a 13.
Will did a 13.
I was
You're
between
a 13? That's not how you do 13, Brandon. You did 5 on one
No.
hand
I said
and 3
Will
on
is
the other.
13.
13.
I,
Everyone-
Oh,
Everyone
I
else
thought
is
you said
8.
yeah,
I would.
8 and
Yeah, I was between those two. I don't.
I am between those two.
Will,
as
would
well.
you like to argue for the 13?
This design is incredibly high level. And as we go about implementing it, we will find that a lot of it doesn't have enough definition, I think.
Sounds good to me. 13 it is for
13
me.
it
then.
is. I agree.
I'd do it.
I think we should meet and talk about that.
I actually think this would be a good time to specifically try to start out doing design specs on something.
Yeah.
Like right
Thanks,
at this end,
Matafius. Thanks for stopping by, too.
which probably puts it to a 13 for sure. If you want to try to make a design spec from that.
I am down to try to do that and also expect that the first goings of that might be a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Select and implement faction abilities and passives.
Select.
So is this also brainstorm a bunch, select from that brainstorm list which ones we want to go and implement, then implement?
So I have some written out, but I think we should create a list. And that list of content is probably like 25 things deep. And then we choose. Yeah, then we just choose from there.
And this is implement faction abilities and passives, so we'd be creating new abilities.
That
So-
tie into the new resource system.
That's fine. I mean, they'd still be abilities, though. They can
Yes.
have any
Yeah.
cost
So-
from a resource pool, so that's fine. But it would actually just be creating new abilities.
Yeah.
So
And
this
now
is
that creating new abilities takes half a day probably to create an ability to a day, depending on complexity.
yeah.
Most of them have been really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is pretty similar to what we did with the ship captain stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Sort of.
yeah.
But it'll probably be more complex.
It,
Like,
it
as in
also
the abilities will be
involves
more complex.
it also involves replacing mutinies, right? So that every faction has a unique mutiny effect. and it involves turning on and turning off these abilities based on when
You reach thresholds
right.
Yeah.
of faction influence. Yeah. So
Cool. People ready to vote?
Mhm.
3, 2, 1.
5, yeah, or an 8. Yeah.
5 or an 8. Does the 5s want to argue for 5 versus 8?
I implemented all of the persona powers in one day. That's my argument.
But I still think there's a lot of design that's going to go into this too.
I think at a minimum we'll have 25 of these abilities. So the number of persona powers that we had was 8.
Cool.
So I think, yeah, that's the
You've
That's the
convinced me
number.
to it.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
eight's fine.
that's why I'm like, I think it's an 8.
So faction visuals. This is coming up with more visualization for factions, inclusive of faction icons, as well as doing all the visual UI UX on all the nonsense that you guys are implementing. This is probably a lot of
Tyson's
Tyson
a
time.
wizard, so 1.
0, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
remember
already done. I don't know.
remember that Tyson is a wizard, so we will have a PSD that looks really good, and then poor Hans will have to go in and dissect that PSD for like 12 hours.
Poor
Yep.
Hans.
So, yeah, I think this is probably both Wednesdays this sprint
Okay.
of Tyson time plus whatever additional time to hack it up and put it in and futz with it. So, ready to vote?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
All right. 8, 5, 3.
I was between 3 and 5. I'd be fine with 5. I think 8 is a bit much for this, but I'm not like so opposed to talking about it or anything.
I think
I don't know.
8 because there is a ton of information. Most of it is boring information, and we'll need to display it in a way that's not boring. So that sounds hard. I don't know if numbers relate to difficulty, but that's what I'm going with.
I mean, to some degree, it's like how much back and forth, and like that's
Actually,
my
a good
that's my
point.
biggest
How
thing.
much back and forth are you guys going to have on these? Like, how much
Yeah.
back and forth on the iconography? 1 and some of this piece.
The faction icons, I'm less worried about because I think that's sort of ancillary to a lot of the other stuff. I think the back and forth on the UI UX and moving stuff around as we play it is going to be high.
Okay.
Mhm.
I can go to an 8 then.
Does this include like action little UI elements?
Like
I mean the actual faction action little squares, the buttons.
The ability icons.
Yeah, all of that.
Maybe I would deprioritize those because I think we can just find placeholder stuff on game icons.
Game icons.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And
Okay.
then come back. Whereas the like faction identity icons, we
Faction
sort of need-
identity, how the board information reads.
Honestly, if we had the faction icons, you could do a kind of a merging of the icon, the faction logo plus an ability logo, kind of in the same. Pretty easy to Photoshop them together so that you could have that association even in placeholder form.
Yep. I mean, I'm holding pretty firm at an 8, I think.
Okay.
All right.
Design time, Galaxy generation, get to an MVP implementable design. So this is the underlying data that goes with how we're thinking about the Galaxy now.
Yep.
And this is everyone getting together, talking, getting to a final MVP implementation doc that we can put into place in release 9, theoretically.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Those are 3s. Will voted baby.
It's the little horns.
Will got babbed.
This? Are you talking about this?
Yeah,
Anthony?
little horns.
Little horns?
Yeah.
Tiny
Oh,
little
I was
only
kind
one.
of a
It's only a little metal
I was-
right now. Not full metal.
I was
Oh,
like
it's not full
2
metal.
and 3. Well, I didn't do this, but it was between 2 and 3. So I did this.
Okay. Design time, resource, rares, quality, etc. Get to implementable designs. Micro question mark? So this is
Okay.
another design time topic specifically around around resources
Mhm.
and quality and depth and stuff that George is going to go crazy in. And
Probably. Which
I-
is a good thing.
Yes. And I think also folded into this conversation is is aligning somewhat on where we want micro and what approach to micro we want.
I think there's actually.
Where we're pickling people. No, we moved that card away, I thought, and folded it into a design time conversation here.
Oh yeah,
Oh, are we finally at the pickle people card?
pickle people. All right.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
ready.
3,
Hi, hello.
2, 1.
This is a 3 or a 5.
Vote
I think
for
it's just going to be a pretty long design time conversation, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's not going to be everyone. I think
It's like
less
an hour.
people are
Okay.
going to be.
3. All right.
Maybe we should just book a design time every single day this sprint.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you should.
No, I mean,
Yes.
yes. Hence why I said, yeah.
Well, you said that like maybe, and I'm like,
Carl
have you seen the
thought
number of
you
design
were-
times?
yeah.
Oh,
Carl
well,
thought
I
you
meant
were
that as we should just do
joking.
that. I'm a yokester.
Design time. As a player, I would like depth on how I generate morale, power, food, and fuel. The thing here
Okay.
that was specifically linked was the stuff around power. But I think there's more conversations here around life support and how it relates to our other resources and stuff.
I feel like this gets tied into the resource conversation too.
Hmm. I
Um,
agree.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
not
in a
it's not
weird way,
really
this is like-
separable,
It's not separable. It's part of the same conversation. But
but they're two different design docs.
science. It's true. They are. They very much are.
So yeah, I guess the thing to consider is with all of these design times, it's not just the talking; it's also then distilling that talking into actionable design doc at the end of it.
Yes. Correct.
So this is the card that is probably part of the same previous design time, but is a different document.
I would agree.
So let's vote on that as a consequence. 3, 2, 1.
2 or 3.
Will votes baby.
I only caught half the combo, so I didn't think I should vote.
That's fine.
Babby.
As a knight, that's already done, and Hans would be the one to adjust that. Design time, alignment on events, quests, and narrative. Is this what we were talking about, like bringing in more narrative elements to stuff? No, that's the next card. Oh wait, this was. I always forget what this card was.
This was a task where a long time ago, feels like it was a long time ago, we had a conversation about how we might not be in alignment on how events and quests relate to the narrative.
Yes. That is right.
I don't know if that's still
I
a
think it was
thing.
like a
but
sprint ago.
really, it feels like it was like a year ago.
I guess
September-
actually because it was
September
3 weeks ago.
23rd. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was forever ago.
Uh,
I think we should kill this, and the reason why is because I think we're gonna go through this naturally as a conversation with factions.
I think there was also at one point there was also a conversation we had where we were worried, where there was some problems, or Hans had questions around are numbers of time scale, population scale, and other stuff making sense for the narrative we're trying to tell? Is that part of this conversation or separate from this conversation?
I think that'd be separate from this.
Okay.
I think this conversation was sort of what I remember it coming out of was there was a conversation about the fact that events were popping up randomly rather than being things that players were actively discovering. And George and I felt like they added a good amount of narrative to the game by doing that. And Carl, you felt like it would be better if they were more discovered and kind of player driven. And maybe that is more in the narrative that you were thinking of. I remember we had a discussion like that. So that might be this.
I don't know that. Maybe. I think we need both. I think we need events that players can clearly see on the horizon and opt into, and I think we need random, we need both random encounters and encounters on the map. You want both. But I don't have strong feeling. That's a generating stuff over time, not a alignment issue, I think.
Cool. Let's kill it. We don't seem to know what it is.
I'm going to chuck it into backlog for now, just in case Hans remembers what it was. And I'll circle back with Hans today. As a player, I would like to like Quest to have a narrative element. We were talking about this earlier of just like how we are going to fold that into the faction stuff. It already has a 3 on it. Does anyone feel we need to revote on the scoping of that?
I do not.
No. Okay. As GBG, I would like Perforce to be set up to support labels and branching. I feel like we have a bunch of...
Hans might argue with me on this, but I'm like, that shouldn't, because of his problems with Perforce. But I'm like, branching was always super easy to do. So
I'm a little bit confused because Perforce already supports labels and branching, doesn't it?
It does completely, and it's
I think
really easy to use.
I think he wants to just set up the structure, like
a method,
a method to the madness.
Just like this is how we go about doing it. What we'll name things and when we'll do it.
I'm going to change this to I would like to document how we use Perforce with labels and branches.
Probably.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to reword it.
How we use labels, branches, and Perforce. Which also means that we need to know how we use them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
But yeah, cool.
I mean, that's...
Whoa.
What?
Thank you, whoever did that. So an anonymous gifter gifted 5 tier 1 subs to us.
Hey, I got one.
And the part that I'm laughing at is Anthony, Will, and Hans got gifted subs.
Got gifted what?
Got the gifted subs. So it's like we got gifted subs, which is hilarious.
I don't get it, but I like it. Cool.
I don't even know what those words mean.
You can
I
in
don't
Twitch
either.
you can gift subs to people.
Yep.
So when you're subscribed, you just basically get access to special emotes that the person has or anything else like that.
Oh.
But you can basically, it's a way of saying not only do I want to sub, but I'm willing to spend other money because I love this channel to get other people subbed as well to increase
that's very kind.
interactivity with the stream and everything. Yeah, it's an extremely generous thing to do.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Also, Lelog, Maz, and Hi Patrick got subbed.
Yeah.
Lelog, Maz.
Yeah.
Lelog, Maz, and Patrick. Yay, Patrick. I don't even know if Patrick's still there.
I don't either, but I watched him play our game over the weekend. It was fun.
nice.
Oh yeah, because he's been streaming it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have watched it. I did not watch it. Oh well. I was not around.
Dare you?
I know.
So do we feel like we can? So here's my question: do you guys feel like you can vote on story points for this? Because I just feel like these 4 cards.
I feel like Hans needs to tell us more about what these specifically are, because I think in his head he has specific things about these.
Yes, I would agree.
Because if it's me, I'm like, I don't know, this branch, and I'll right click and set a label on check-in. It's cool.
So how do we feel about release 8? It is currently 58 points, which I think is lower than we've normally been doing. We have some points still in the sprint board, but that still feels a little low comparatively.
I think it sounds good. I mean, this is gonna be our first really big systems push since
There's a lot of design work here, and the thing is, I don't mind leaving it low because if we get really excited about some kind of designs, we can scope out implementation parts of it and potentially even start diving in on it. Even I know we're supposed to plan everything, but I would not feel uncomfortable with us figuring out a design that we get excited about and then just adding a little bit of work to the sprint with that, like an emergent task.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Especially coming out of, like, some of these resource ones, especially.
I think we should front load a lot of the designs.
Yes.
There is we had talked about in the past this idea of cards kind of encompassing design, programming, and art, and kind of carrying them through. I think it's just a thing to be cautious of, that because we have all these design times, that we don't end up siloing that work out the way that we were doing in Ultra
Yeah,
Tactics.
we should ideally, hopefully, from the design times, come up with a document, the design specs that would then incorporate the necessary art, engineering, additional design, so everyone's working together on those moving forward.
Mhm.
And not siloing up just to implement it.
QQQ.
I would hope, at least.
sounds legit to me.
Should we start facing? It looks like there are already faces. I don't know faces.
Yes, we should start facing and taking ownership of stuff.
Indie Megaboost, no way.
Yeah, hard pass. I will.
What do I want to face? I definitely want to be.
That was hard.
That one. No, I'll take the. I'll do those. I'll lead it.
The first Steam build.
Steam build to be labeled for patching.
We don't need to add ourselves to the bug thing, right? It's just assumed that everyone's going to be fixing bugs.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Ha! Not me.
GPG.
Okay. Well, technically, you can
you
fix
are
bugs.
absolutely
Brandon.
capable of fixing
I was
them.
gonna say, like,
I will-
what if there's quest bugs and stuff, and you go into the
anything
JSON and fix the
related.
JSON?
Anything
Yeah.
JSON related, I am
Don't
down.
undersell yourself, you turd.
And like, I have
like
fixed so
how I-
many typos that you could be fixing.
Oh well, okay.
Tut.
Whoa. True. I mean, it's just true. I have nothing to. There's no retort.
What? How am I not a champion at all?
Would you like to champion the select and implement faction abilities and passives?
Yeah, I guess that's the one I should do. Where is it? There it is.
I'm champion for a few, so I don't mind giving up championship of one because I feel like out of everyone, I'm probably the most difficult to be a champion right now due to all the stuff I'm doing all the time. Let's see. Actually,
I
I'm
don't
only
want to take any of
championing.
yours, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But thank you, George.
The action panel is probably the only one. I don't mind doing the work if someone else wants to champion it.
I think you
But
should definitely be the champion of the action panel one because it's your
Okay.
baby.
And the Galaxy Generation, I'm super passionate about, so I don't mind championing that either.
So one thing we forgot to do, and I'm moving this stuff right now, is on the far left, there's player suggestions. And we want to go through and prioritize these and see if there's any specific suggestions that we have on our list that we want to bring in.
Do you just want to read each one out loud and we can like
as a player, I would like
something.
some activity/interaction that is involved in finding home. It's been there for a while.
I think we delay that.
Yeah.
I think we delay that.
Yeah, that's going to be in our long range update.
Okay. As a player, I would like to be able to queue orders for ships/planets.
Don't think that's
I think we
happening right
delay
now.
that.
I just don't think we need that for now.
I don't think we.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we'll ever need it.
I
mean,
think this one's gone too. Should show empty. Go ahead, Carl.
I was going to say, if there's delay in that we think this is a thing we will do just later, and then this is not a thing we want to do, and I'm fine killing suggestions. We just need to make the call. So are we?
I think we should kill that last one.
What, the Q thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but I don't mind if we do kill it. I'm not going to be the saddest in the world, but I think there could be a really interesting UI with that. Just kill it. I really do think it's a lot of work. It's a lot of UX work that's going to not result in a lot of benefit. And down the road, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Should show empty yellow square outline for hardpoints that could be powered. I feel like we kill this because we're just doing
power.
Yeah, that's people don't like power. The next one is people don't like power. So archive.
All right.
Add a new ring on the long range scanning notification number.
We did that.
Add a new ring.
That's the background piece. We change the red circle? Didn't we change that already? To make
I didn't. I don't know who we is.
Hans.
Probably Hans. Yeah.
Did he get
He's not very good about putting tasks away.
Yeah. Scan notification size is weird. I'm just going to leave the new ring and we can ask Hans if he already did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scan notification size is weird. I think this is the scanned on the the text that is on the planets.
Scan text notification.
Scan
notification text.
Is it weird?
Yes, Hans was very bothered by it. I don't know why, but he was. He was really bothered by it.
Well, that's fair.
He is our font master.
He is font master, so
he said something about it like being bigger than the planets and that bothering him.
So I think what we say here is if Hans is so bothered by it, he can figure out what he wants to do with it, and then we can prioritize it. Okay.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Straight savage.
Right.
So here I will add at Hans document a change you would like to see implemented here. Okay. Add an abdicate button maybe to options so that you can end your game when you want to.
It's basically you can just abandon the game.
And I think that specifically and get score.
Yeah, that's what I have written in there. That this is so that you would actually just get the full in-game experience. I think it's fine to keep it here right now. I don't know when we'll specifically get to it.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't want to prioritize it now. Is what you're saying. Cool. Score opacity, specifically around faction loyalty of 800 versus 1,000, could be better.
Yeah, let's do it. Yep. Do it. It's just math errors. That's a bug. That's not even a suggestion. That's a bug.
Hey.
So I'm gonna assign George to it.
That's fine. Yeah.
George. Okay, cool. So everyone feel good about release date?
Excited.
Cool.
Hyped. It's my hype face.
Did you say release great?
Whoa.
Hey. All right.
Move
I have to
list
come up with one for 9 now.
to sprint board.
Release fine?
It's all right.
I don't know. I'm in a German-speaking country right now, so it could be release. 9 bugs are left. No bugs are left. Yay.
Nope. Hard pass.
Yep.
All right. So
I am currently on Schikandergasse. That's the name of my street. It's really cool.
Wait,
Every
what country are
street
you in?
here is Vienna, or I mean Vienna, Austria.
Austria? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sehr gut.
I still maintain that the hardest job in the world is a German graphic designer because how you fit those words into like these small spaces is ridiculous. I don't know how they do it. It's like,
I mean, I'll be honest.
smaller-
Localizing English games to support German was obnoxious as
Yeah.
hell. You're like, God damn it!
Yep.
Why is this word so freaking long? Our button is so small. In English, it's like
Mhm.
four characters. In German, it's like
Yep.
12.
It's
Fuck.
because their language just makes
Yep.
more sense than ours.
It's mostly when things could wrap, like on an English can, right, of soup.
Yeah.
It could be like split pea soup with garlic and onions. And you could do that in 3 lines. But like for some reason in German, that's all one word. It's like they're splitting their pea and soup and the onion and right. I don't know. Like I'm obviously I don't know German, so but it's like it's all one word. So it's like you either figure out a way to put it on the can or you use like 6 hyphens to just keep like new lining.
It's the Lego of
It's pretty-
languages.
Or you just do it along the length of the, or like how the height of the can.
You
that's
could
true.
do that, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some really cute words. Oh, sorry, I
Anyways,
distracted. I'm sorry.
You're
Carl.
you're fine. You're fine. I was just moving stuff around. So
Okay.
now is the part of the process where people go through and write completion criteria and more details and all that good stuff that we normally do. Break out the cards, book the design time meetings, all that kind of stuff. Do we have anything else we want to do on stream altogether before we break and do all that nonsense? And potentially have a design time today.
9.
Jeez.
No, that's
I
next
meant, I was
release.
talking about release. Yeah, that's next release. My bad. What I meant is 8.
I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling a little less great now.
Oh man.
Um,
You know, I probably shouldn't do that with my window wide open.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
People are gonna think I'm like making fun of German. Actually, they're right.
Yeah, they are.
Oh yeah.
That sucks.
nice.
I'm doing it out of affection, not out of malice.
Take that, Germans.
I think German is one of my favorite languages that I don't know.
I don't.
freaking-
I feel like you're saying a lot of things to try and make this better, and I don't know that it's making it better.
I don't care. It's really cute. Like whenever I hear people speaking German near me, it's just I think it's an adorable language. I really like it.
Is this
I
getting
always
better?
wanted to learn it.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's getting better.
I don't think it's getting better.
My goal is not to make it better. What do you mean? That's a compliment. It's an adorable language. It's not like it's an ugly
Okay,
This
language.
is about to get
just
worse.
stop.
Yeah.
Just-
This is about
this is
to
when
get
you
worse.
just cut your losses and just.
Hey,
Oh,
I'll
no.
change the subject. Hey, Brandon, I got 3 houses. It's great.
Isn't it so good?
It's so good. I
It's
love being
so
a
good.
professor. I love my students so
You're
much.
so-
Which
it's
house?
so
Which
great.
house did you choose?
The one with the sexy guy.
Cloud.
Black Eagle.
Leicester, I think
All
is
right,
his name.
you've piqued my attention.
Oh yeah, you're playing.
What are you
the,
discussing?
The Golden Deer.
Golden
The
Deer.
Golden Deer. I joined the Golden
Lame.
Deer.
Yes.
Because
So
they're
yes,
like
Cloud.
down with kings, and I'm hot, and I'm like, cool, I'll hang out with you.
Lame.
What is this
Lame.
game?
There's
Fire
only
Emblem
one
Three
of
Fire
those.
Houses.
Emblem.
Fire Emblem, where you play as a teacher.
Oh,
You play as a teacher, and you have to teach your students to keep you from dying. It's like the most intense teaching ever.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like what are you
Man.
teaching them? How to survive.
that game doesn't hold a candle to Hatoful Boyfriend.
Yeah,
guys
I
know that
guess
game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
the pigeon dating game.
sim.
Freaking awesome. It's actually terrible, but I love it. It's not terrible, sorry. That's the wrong word to use. It's not very deep. It runs... It's a foul game. Okay, let's move on.
You're literally the worst.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
still
you.
streaming? Oh, geez.
Yeah. Golden Deer is my second playthrough that I'm currently in.
Ah,
Yes.
who did you play through first?
Edelgard and the Black Eagle. Which
Only
is
Edelgard seems
absolutely
cool.
fantastic.
It's the only one that
Holy
matters.
crap.
Real run.
This seems pretty cool. The Knights guy seems like a
He's an ass. The blue, it's the
asshole,
blue
yeah.
lion. The blue lions are just absolute terrible.
what is the
No.
diplomatic way to say
They're
horrible?
so boring. Oh my god.
No, he's boring and also an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I hate that guy.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
Well, thanks for joining us, folks, and thank you again for the anonymous gifts, anonymous person.
Thank you, anonymous
And
person.
yeah, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Catch you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.